This video is an introduction to the use of German augmented sixth chords as pivot chords in modulations. Let's begin by listening to an excerpt from Beethoven's Rage Over a Lost Penny. Now pause the video and take a moment to fill in the Roman numerals as best you are able, starting with measure 157. Pause the video now. Alright, we're back. Hopefully you got something along the lines of this through measure 167. As you can see, a fair amount of alternation exists here between the dominant and tonic in G major, decorated with a fair amount of neighbor motion. We'll also notice a German augmented sixth in measure 165. The real question is what happens in measure 168. You may have analyzed this perhaps as a secondary dominant 7 to the flat 2, followed by resolution to the flat 2 in measure 170. However, this is actually the beginning of a modulation, in which case, where is the pivot chord? We could go back one chord from measure 168, but that would give us a D major, and D major does not exist in A flat major. Where is the pivot? Take a look again at measure 168 and compare it to measure 165, where we had the German augmented sixth chord. You will find the two chords are enharmonically identical. The only difference is that whereas the German augmented sixth has a C sharp, this dominant seventh that you're looking at has a D flat. What has happened is Beethoven has enharmonically reinterpreted the German augmented sixth in G major as the dominant seventh in the key of the flat 2. As you can see, the German augmented sixth chord is enharmonically identical to the dominant seventh in the key of the flat 2, varying only in the enharmonic spelling of one pitch. Here in the first example is a German augmented sixth in C minor with its typical resolution to 5 through a cadential 6/4. Now listen to the dominant seventh in D flat resolve. By enharmonically reinterpreting a German augmented sixth as a dominant seventh, we can modulate to the key a half step above the original tonic, as you saw in the Beethoven example, and as you can see in the example here, which modulates from A minor to B flat major. Now we can go in the opposite direction, down by a half step. When a dominant seventh in the original key is reinterpreted as a German augmented sixth, we can move down by half a step from our original tonic. This would be the rather less frequent of the two, since it means tonicization of scale degree 7. Now, both of these are examples of enharmonic modulation, which is modulation in which a chord resolves according to the function of its enharmonic equivalent. For more information on using augmented sixth chords as chromatic pivot chords, you may find Chapter 30 of Clintoning Marvin's The Musician's Guide to Theory and Analysis helpful, as well as Late's thorough treatment of augmented sixth chords in Chapter 24 of The Complete Musician.